Have you ever felt like there's, a whole world of thoughts and feelings kind of bubbling beneath the surface, like something's trying to break through from the depths of your mind? That's the realm of the unconscious. And today we're going on a deep dive into active imagination. It's a powerful technique developed by Carl Jung, and we're going to explore this hidden landscape of the mind. Active imagination, it's like having a conversation with your unconscious, but how does it actually work? Is it just fancy daydreaming? And how can you safely engage with this technique to unlock your hidden potential? Okay, so active imagination, it's a core concept of analytical psychology developed by Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist and psychiatrist. He considered it the most potent tool to access the unconscious and achieve wholeness of personality. It's a dialogue with the different parts of yourself that kind of live in the unconscious. Imagine dreaming, but while fully awake. It allows images to rise from the depths and be experienced on the level of imagination. Jung's journey into active imagination. It began between 1913 and 1916, during a period of intense inner turmoil. He was seeking a method to heal himself from within, and he turned to his imagination. He experienced visions and intense imagery. This culminated in the creation of his Black Books and the Red Book. These journals documented his encounters with figures from his unconscious, a journey he referred to as his confrontation with the unconscious. It's interesting because Jung initially dismissed alchemy as a pseudoscience, but his perspective shifted as he delved deeper into the unconscious. He began to see alchemy, not as literally turning lead into gold, but as a symbolic representation of psychological transformation. Jung studied it throughout his life, culminating in his final work, Mysterium Cognitionis, published in 1955. He described active imagination as a path to self-knowledge and individuation, inspired by the alchemical union of opposites. So how can you engage with active imagination? Well, it begins with an image. Any image will do. Observe its spontaneous changes without trying to force it or control it. It's about letting go and allowing the unconscious to guide the process. As you watch the image unfold, imagine stepping into it, becoming a participant rather than just a mere observer. Engage in dialogue with the figures that appear, allowing them to analyze you, ask questions, and reveal their perspectives. It's like having a conversation with the characters of your own inner world. Jung emphasized starting slowly and seeking support, especially if you're new to this. Working with a trusted individual or a Jungian analyst can provide guidance and ensure a safe and enriching experience. Remember, this is a deep dive into the unknown, and it's always best to have a buddy system when exploring uncharted waters. Now, you might be wondering, isn't this just like daydreaming? What? But active imagination is distinctly different from passive fantasy or daydreaming. While in daydreaming, your mind wanders aimlessly, active imagination requires conscious participation and interaction with the unconscious. For example, imagine a woman who always felt drawn to art but never pursued it. Through active imagination, she encountered the figure of an artist within her. This figure encouraged her to explore her creative side, leading her to take up painting. The result, she discovered a hidden talent and found greater satisfaction and joy in her life. This highlights the authenticity of the imagination. It's nearly impossible to fabricate content that isn't genuinely connected to your unconscious. Jungian analyst Robert A. Johnson, in his book, Inner Work, Using Dreams and Active Imagination for Personal Growth, recounts the story of a patient who attempted to fake his active imagination experiences. He believed he could trick Johnson. However, the fake material that he presented unintentionally revealed deep truths about himself, proving that the unconscious has a way of expressing itself even when we try to conceal it. Active imagination can often take the form of a mythical adventure, mirroring the hero's journey found in countless stories across cultures. We encounter these archetypal figures like the wise old man, the mischievous trickster, or the powerful animal, each representing different aspects of ourselves. This exploration connects us to the timeless energy of the archetypes that reside within us. Jung's technique of amplification helps to interpret these images. By researching myths, legends, and cultural symbols associated with these figures, we can gain a deeper understanding of their meaning and significance in our own lives. It's like using a decoder ring to unlock the language of the unconscious. Now, let's get practical. How do you embark on your own active imagination journey? Well, it starts with creating a space for this inner work. Find a quiet and private place where you won't be interrupted. A sanctuary where you can delve into your inner world without distractions. Think of it as creating a sacred space, much like the alchemists of old who sought solitude in their laboratories for their transformative work. Next, choose a method to document your experiences. You can write, type, or even record your voice. This isn't about perfect prose, but about capturing the flow of images, feelings, and insights that arise. Think of it as mapping your inner landscape, a record of your exploration that you can revisit and reflect upon. With your space prepared and your recording method chosen, you're ready for the 4 steps of active imagination. Step 1 is the invitation. You're inviting the unconscious to surface and reveal itself. Ask yourself, where is the source of my current obsession? Who or what within me is feeling this way? What form does this feeling or energy take in my imagination? These questions act like a summoning spell, calling forth the figures from the depths of your psyche. Wait with an alert mind for images to appear. Don't force anything, simply observe. Sometimes an image will appear instantly, other times it might take a while. Patience is key. If you're struggling, try visualizing a specific location, like a forest, a beach, or a mountaintop. These symbolic landscapes can act as portals to the unconscious. You can also use a recent dream as a starting point, stepping back into the dream scene and continuing the narrative in your imagination. Once an image or figure emerges, you're ready for step 2, the dialogue. This is where the real magic begins. Engage in conversation with the figures, asking them questions like, who are you? What do you want? What message do you have for me? Allow the conversation to flow naturally without censorship or control. Remember, these figures are not separate entities, but aspects of yourself, even if they appear to have their own distinct personalities and perspectives. Listen to what they have to say, understand their point of view, and seek to integrate their wisdom into your conscious life. It's like having a roundtable discussion with the different parts of yourself, each offering their unique perspective and insights. As you engage in this dialogue, remember to document it, capturing the nuances of the conversation. Pay attention to the emotions that arise. What feelings do these figures evoke in you? What does this tell you about the nature of this part of yourself? It's like taking notes during a therapy session, allowing you to process and reflect on the encounter later. However, as you delve deeper, it's crucial to remember step 3, values. This step ensures that your exploration is grounded in ethics and aligned with your highest good. The unconscious doesn't always operate according to human morality. The figures and forces there can be driven by instincts and primal energies that might not align with our values of fairness, justice, and compassion. It becomes your responsibility to bring your conscious awareness and ethical principles into the dialogue. Set boundaries. Recognize when a figure crosses a line, and refuse to engage in behaviors that violate your sense of right and wrong. It's like establishing a code of conduct for your inner world, ensuring that your exploration is both safe and transformative. For instance, imagine you encounter a figure that tempts you to engage in destructive behavior. You have the right to say no to any figure or impulse that doesn't align with your values. You are the captain of your ship, steering your course toward wholeness and well-being, even when faced with tempting sirens or treacherous storms. Remember, active imagination is a potent tool for self-discovery, but it's essential to use it responsibly. By bringing your values into the dialogue, you ensure that your journey is both transformative and aligned with your highest good. The 4th and final step is ritual. This is where you bring the insights and experiences of your inner journey into the realm of concrete action. It's about grounding the energy of the unconscious into the physical world, like planting seeds that can grow and blossom in your everyday life. The rituals you choose will be unique to your personal experience. Find a way to express and integrate the wisdom of the unconscious in a tangible and meaningful way. This could be through creative expression like painting, writing, or composing music, allowing your unconscious to flow through you and manifest in the physical world. Spending time in nature can also be a powerful ritual. Immerse yourself in the beauty of the natural world, allowing yourself to feel grounded and connected to the earth. It's like recharging your batteries in the embrace of Mother Nature, drawing upon her wisdom and tranquility. If you've been working through difficult emotions, create a ritual around releasing and letting go. This could involve writing a letter you never send, burning a piece of paper with your worries written on it, or taking a long cleansing bath. It's about finding symbolic actions that allow you to release what no longer serves you and make space for healing and renewal. If you've been connecting with your spiritual side, consider a ritual around meditation or prayer. Find a quiet space, light a candle, and focus on your breath or a sacred image. Allow yourself to feel connected to something larger than yourself.
It's like tuning into the frequency of your soul, allowing its wisdom to guide you. Remember, these rituals don't need to be elaborate or complicated. What matters is that they feel meaningful to you. By incorporating them into your daily life, you'll begin to notice a shift in your energy, your perspective, and your overall well-being. It's like weaving the threads of your unconscious into the fabric of your everyday life, creating a richer and more meaningful tapestry. But how can you be sure these figures and experiences are genuine representations of your unconscious and not just figments of your imagination? It's a valid concern, and one that Carl Jung himself addressed. Jung believed the unconscious communicates through symbols and archetypes. These symbols carry a universal meaning that transcends our individual experiences. Think of it like a shared language that speaks to the depths of our being, a language we all understand on some level, even if we can't always articulate it. So when you encounter a figure like a wise old man or a mischievous trickster in your active imagination, it's not just a random creation of your mind. It's tapping into a deeper archetype, a pattern of energy and meaning that has resonated throughout human history. It's like tuning into a universal radio frequency that broadcasts the wisdom of the ages. But this doesn't mean your personal experiences and interpretations aren't important. It's through the lens of our individual experiences that we make meaning of these archetypal symbols. Each of us is given a unique set of paints and a blank canvas, and we're invited to create our own masterpiece using the colors and forms of the collective unconscious. To help you interpret these archetype symbols and understand their significance in your own life, Jung developed a technique called amplification. It's like turning up the volume on the symbols that appear in your active imagination so you can hear their message more clearly. Amplification involves researching the myths, legends, fairy tales, and cultural symbols that resonate with the figures and themes that emerge in your active imagination. By exploring the broader context of these symbols, you can gain deeper insights into their meaning and relevance in your own life. For example, let's say you encounter a serpent in your active imagination. Serpents have been associated with a wide range of meanings throughout history, from healing and transformation to temptation and danger. To amplify the symbol of the serpent, you might research its significance in different cultures and mythologies. You might discover that in some traditions, the serpent represents wisdom and knowledge, while in others it symbolizes primal energy and the power of the unconscious. By exploring these different perspectives, you can start to piece together a richer understanding of what the serpent might represent in your personal journey. It's like gathering clues from a detective novel, each piece of evidence leading you closer to the truth. Now, as you engage in this process of amplification, it's important to trust your intuition and allow your personal associations to guide you. There's no one right interpretation of any symbol, and what matters most is what resonates with you on a deep and personal level. It's like following a trail of breadcrumbs that leads you to your own unique destination.
Active imagination can be a powerful tool for exploring the archetypal dimensions of your psyche, but it's not a replacement for living a full and engaged life in the real world. It's not about escaping into a fantasy world, but rather about bringing the insights and energy of the unconscious into your everyday life. It's like taking the treasures you've discovered in your inner world and using them to enrich and enhance your experience in the outer world. Remember, active imagination is a journey, not a destination. It's about the ongoing exploration and integration of all the different parts of yourself, the light and the shadow, the conscious and the unconscious. It's about embracing the fullness of your being and becoming more fully who you are meant to be. Now, as we delve deeper into this world of active imagination, you might start to wonder about the role of alchemy in all of this. Remember, Jung saw alchemy not just as this primitive attempt to turn lead into gold, but as a symbolic representation of the process of psychological transformation.
He believed that the alchemists were actually describing the journey of individuation, the process of becoming a whole and integrated self. It's like they were writing a secret code book for the soul. And active imagination is the key to unlocking its secrets. One of the key concepts in alchemy is this idea of the conjunctio, the union of opposites. The alchemists believed that in order to create something new and valuable, you had to bring together these seemingly contradictory elements. Think of it like blending oil and water, right? They seem incompatible, but when combined correctly, they create something new and valuable, like mayonnaise. Active imagination provides a space for this conjunctio to take place within ourselves. As we engage in dialogue with the figures of our unconscious, we're essentially bringing together these different parts of our psyche, allowing them to interact and to potentially transform one another.
It's like creating a crucible within our own minds, where the raw materials of our being can be melted down and forged into something new and more refined. Now, this process of alchemical transformation, it isn't always easy or comfortable. It can involve facing our shadow side, those aspects of ourselves that we might prefer to keep hidden or denied. It can also involve confronting our limiting beliefs, our fears, and our deepest wounds. But it's through this process of facing and integrating our shadow that we can truly become whole and complete. It's like venturing into the darkest depths of the cave in order to discover the hidden treasure within. Remember, the alchemists believed that the philosopher's stone, the ultimate goal of their quest, wasn't just about turning lead into gold, but about achieving a state of spiritual enlightenment and wholeness. And Jung saw active imagination as the modern day equivalent of the alchemist's quest.
A path to self-knowledge and transformation that is available to each of us. It's like we each have the potential to become our own alchemists, transforming the lead of our limitations into the gold of our true potential. So as you continue to explore the world of active imagination, remember the wisdom of the alchemists. Embrace the union of opposites within yourself, or face your shadow with courage and compassion, and trust in the transformative power of the Konunghthia to lead you toward greater wholeness and enlightenment. It's a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. But the rewards, as the alchemists knew, are beyond measure. Now, before we wrap up our deep dive into active imagination, I want to offer a few words of caution and encouragement. This practice can be incredibly powerful and transformative, but it's also important to approach it with respect, discernment, and a healthy dose of common sense.
Remember, you're dealing with the depths of your own psyche, and it's essential to treat this territory with care and reverence. First, remember that active imagination is not a replacement for therapy or professional help. If you're struggling with serious mental health issues, it's crucial to seek guidance from a qualified therapist or psychiatrist. Active imagination can be a wonderful complement to therapy, but it should never be used as a substitute for professional care. Second, be mindful of the potential for inflation. Inflation is a psychological term that refers to an inflated sense of self-importance or an exaggerated belief in one's own abilities. It can happen when we become too identified with the figures or experiences of our active imagination, losing in touch with our grounded sense of self. It's like becoming so enamored with the characters in a movie that we forget that we're just watching a movie.
To avoid inflation, it's essential to maintain a healthy dose of skepticism and to remember that the figures of your active imagination are ultimately aspects of yourself, not separate entities. It's also helpful to ground yourself in reality by staying connected to your relationships, your work, and your responsibilities. And if you start to feel like you're losing touch with reality, don't hesitate to reach out for support from a trusted friend, therapist, or spiritual advisor. Third, be aware of the potential for projection. Projection is a psychological defense mechanism that involves attributing our own thoughts, feelings, or qualities to others. It can happen when we unconsciously project aspects of ourselves onto the figures of our active imagination, seeing them as either all good or all bad, rather than recognizing their complexity and nuance. It's like looking to a distorted mirror that reflects back a warped image of ourselves.
To avoid projection, it's important to develop a strong sense of self-awareness and to be honest with ourselves about our own shadow side. It's also helpful to remember that the figures of our active imagination are not real people, but rather symbolic representations of different aspects of ourselves. And if we find ourselves reacting very strongly to a particular figure, either positively or negatively, it's a good indication that we might be projecting some of our own unresolved issues onto them. Now, despite these cautions, I want to encourage you to embrace the adventure of active imagination. It's a journey that can lead to profound self-discovery, creativity, and healing. It's a way to tap into the wisdom of your unconscious, to connect with the deeper layers of your being, and to discover the hidden treasures that lie within you. It's like setting sail on an inner voyage of exploration with the promise of untold riches and uncharted territories waiting to be discovered.
So if you're feeling called to explore the world of active imagination, I encourage you to dive in. Remember to approach it with respect, curiosity, and a willingness to be surprised.
and trust that the journey will unfold in its own time, revealing the insights and wisdom that you need to grow, to heal, and to become more fully who you were meant to be. And as you embark on this journey, remember the words of Carl Jung, the pioneer of active imagination. The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. May your active imagination journey be filled with transformative encounters and profound discoveries. Happy exploring.